Guys, I always challenge you, become a local authority, become a local guru, go to your local newspapers, your local television stations. Here's a perfect example. CEO of Investment Quorum, great friend, thanks for showing us your social media wizardry. Lee Robertson.
I just always wish they'd stop putting up the picture of my older, fatter brother. That's not how I see myself. Good morning, everyone. I guess I'd start by saying I'm going to make some confessions here. The first is I'm not a social media wizard. The second is I'm Scottish, so I'll try to speak slowly. That's been pointed out, although I think I speak very good English. The English might disagree. So what I'm going to do today is just really talk to you about our journey. I'm not a social media expert. I'm a wealth manager. We have won some awards along the way. That's in part due to our marketing, but in part due because we really care about our clients. I think I'm sure it's exactly the same here in the Netherlands that private investors, the public at the moment, are faced with the most baffling, scary, frightening, depressing landscape financially. The big brands, the banks, the big wealth managers who promised everything have delivered very, very little. In fact, they've delivered so little, we've all had to give them some of our hard-earned money just to keep them going. I think they've lied to their clients. I think they've promised stuff they haven't delivered. They give them stock solutions, they don't look after them, they move staff around. So I think everyone here in this room has a fantastic opportunity to connect with the public at the very time they're most frightened about their money. They're living longer, they're looking for help, they're looking for assistance, interest rates are very low. It's an incredibly interesting time to do what we do. And we do it on a one-to-one basis. We're not some big faceless corporation. We're a small organization. Just to talk to you a little bit about my company. There's 9 people in a room. There are 4 advisors. Until recently there were kind of 2. I'm also an advisor, so you could argue that that's 5, although I spend a lot of my time now talking to accountants and solicitors and other strategic partners where we're looking to get referrals. And I drive the marketing side of our business. I have no training in marketing at all, so like just about everything else I do, I make it up as I go along. But let's have a look at basically my company's journey. The social media part is just one part of the marketing, but I think it's a great leveler for businesses like mine and businesses like yours, because a lot of it is free to deliver. Whereas banks and big institutions will spend a fortune on this kind of stuff, we can do it for virtually nothing, and we can punch way above our weight, to use a boxing analogy. So I guess this just works. There we go. So the Investment Quorum journey. This all started, thank you. This all started, some of you may know her from your trips to London, a very attractive lady called Abby Tanner, an Australian. She does have formal marketing training. And we were having lunch. You can tell I like lunch. My older, fatter brother likes it even more. We were having lunch, and she was talking to me about Twitter and Facebook. Well, I was 50 years old October, and I thought, Twitter and Facebook it's for kids, it's for people who have no life, basically. People, you see these tweets, I'm on a train to Birmingham. Who cares? You're on a train to Birmingham. And Facebook I thought was even worse. But she convinced me. She said, you've got to give it a go, because you're quite a good communicator. People like to listen to what you say. That's her talking, not me. So I thought, yeah, let's give it a go. She said, give me one more passion apart from looking after your clients. Well, I said, I love to eat. I love to try new restaurants. I love cooking for friends. I love going to friends for dinner. She said, well, start tweeting also, not just about work, but also about food, which I did. And it was amazing. Within days, I was having chefs connecting with me. I've been to so many new restaurant openings. So there's a great side to this. Befriend some chefs, do well. So we got underway, and this is basically, as I say, the journey. This was my starting point. You know, who's listening? My clients are all, in the main, they're 45 and older, they're not on Twitter, they're not on Facebook. I was very, very wrong. These are UK numbers, but I guess UK, despite what you might think, is actually part of Europe. We make noises about it, but we are. So I think your numbers will be pretty similar. Half of the UK, this was done from emarketer.com. These numbers were about 2 years old, I think, so the numbers are probably even bigger now. There's a bit of guesswork in there, I suppose. But basically, there are more women on social media than there are men. I don't know about you in the Netherlands, but I've got a feeling in the UK that women make the financial decisions. The men might do the talking, but the women make the decisions, so why wouldn't we talk to the women? The older generation, and we have lots of clients who've just gone into retirement, they're in that scary phase. How will my money last long enough? Have I got enough? Have I saved enough? Can I give money to my children or my grandchildren, or will that make me be poorer later on? So we want to talk to those. So those are just some numbers. I think they're out there. People are on there. It was interesting, when I finally joined Facebook, and I only did it earlier this year, the very first people that connected with me were 3 of my aunts up in Scotland, who were all in their 70s. So people are on there, you know, from all generations, not just kids. So what did I do? Once I got through the bit of connecting with chefs out of self-interest, I guess, what did I actually do? I sat down and thought about what we were already doing in marketing-wise, and we were doing lots of bits and pieces, but it just wasn't joined up. And I think what social media has done for us is it's joined up the marketing effort in many ways. So the very quick, easy wins, well, they were all out there. Get on Twitter, get on Facebook. LinkedIn I particularly like. We work LinkedIn like stink. We're always working LinkedIn, and we now pick up new clients from LinkedIn all the time. If we go to networking events where there are accountants and solicitors, I'm particularly interested in those as sources of referrals. I connect with them on LinkedIn, I talk to them, I send bits and pieces to them, and that's really working for us. The other bits and pieces, Google+, YouTube, we write a blog, and I'll talk about my blog a bit more in a moment. But these are all quick things, and they're all free. I'm Scottish. The thing about Scots and money, I like anything free and I like anything cheap. So these work for me, I tell you. If we can find a client on social media, we immediately connect with them, we talk to them, all this kind of stuff. I hate to miss an opportunity. I'm a very competitive individual. Michelle knows very well. I'm incredibly competitive and I hate to miss a trick. So when clients came in and they say, oh, I just did that with my bank, I didn't realize you did that, it drives me nuts. I get really, you don't show it in front of the client, but I get quite angry about it with myself. So social media is a great way of reminding clients of everything you do. Because they only come in, I don't know how often you see your clients, we see all of our clients at least once a year, but most of them twice a year. But they forget, in the 6 months in between, they've forgotten what you do, or a lot of what you do. They think you only do mortgages, or they think you only do pensions, because that's what you talk to them about that day. You've got to constantly remind them of all the other services, because if you're not, someone else is. And it's a great way of filling in the time between meetings. And I'm sure you have the same pressures from your regulator here. Our regulator keeps talking about to us about, now the commissions have gone, I understand you've lost commissions too. They're saying, now you're charging a fee, what are you doing for your clients? And they're making noises about it. If you only see a client once a year, what is your value proposition? They're paying you all year, but you're only seeing them once a year. Well, we can argue very strongly that we're constantly communicating with them. We're sending them interesting information. We'll make sure that they're okay. There's lots of other stuff that we can build into our service proposition, which demonstrates to our regulator that we do care and we are worth our money. These are bits and pieces that we do. Company updates. Clients love to know what you're doing. You know, if you go to a conference, if someone's just been on TV, you've been in the local newspaper talking about finance, whatever it is, just tell your clients. They're incredibly interested. They've made a big decision to not go to a big organisation. They've selected your organisation to do that work. They want you to succeed, so they want to hear about your successes. And that's what we've worked out with clients. We've got a small group of 20 clients that we talk to all the time, and they say the number one thing they like to hear about is successes in our company, because it validates their decision to use us, not to use Barclays Bank or, I guess, over here, ING or whatever. We send out all of our tax guides. We send them by post. It costs me a fortune now. We put them online and we tweet links to them. We put them on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. It's saving me quite a bit of money. As I said before, the Scot in me rather likes that. We also have a bit of video, not as much as I'd like, but we've now got some video in production. We were a bit slow to that. We wanted to get it right. We didn't want just to rush in. But if I do a bit of Sky TV or something like that, we always tweet the links so that clients can see you talking on TV. Once again, it validates what you're doing. And any time we appear in the press, we make sure all of our clients know that we're in this week's Investors Chronicle or the Daily Telegraph money pages on Sunday or whatever. And we can see the numbers of people that go to look at it. We can track that. And I'll talk about tracking software as well. And the next thing we're about to do is podcasts. All social media is, to me, is an amplifier of a discussion. That's all it is. So if I'm writing blog pieces, why would I not also record them and send them to iTunes for other people to find who might be interested in my services? And I think to do it to iTunes costs $99 a year. American software is incredible. So we're just about to do that. I've recorded 4. I've got 4 more to do, which will be our first tranche, or first set, which will go on. And we're hoping that will also broaden our outreach to potential new clients. And we will also send the podcast to all of our solicitors or lawyers, all of our accountants that we're connections with, etc. Help. As I say, we all need help. I'm not trained in this. I'm making it up as I go along. Abby Tanner was very helpful, but she set me in the path and then kind of got distracted somewhere else. So don't think you've got to do it all yourself. You've already got a lot of it already. You've got brochures. NNEK, I'm sure, have lots of literature that you can dissect. You can take paragraphs from. You can take diagrams from and use them through social media. If you think of Twitter as just a micro blog, it's 140 characters, but they now let you put pictures on. So you can put things like this. I love little diagrams. I'm forever putting them on social media. Clients like them too. I think they say that 2/3 of us are visual rather than auditory, or guesswork figures. So why not show them pictures of what you're doing, things that interest you, things that affect their financial planning, and things that also break the thought that you only do mortgages, or you only do pensions, or you only do insurance. Talk to them about other things you do, because they may have pigeonholed you quite early. He's the guy that does my mortgage, or she's the woman that does my pension, and they don't think you do investments. So there's lots of ways you can break out. These are people in the UK, but like Michelle, they're all pretty much international. These are people with help. And we hold the distinction today of being the firm with the highest client satisfaction scores of any company in any sector, so not just financial services. So we've got the highest score. And every year since 2007, our scores have gone up, which I'm incredibly proud of, especially today because clients get more demanding, it's now fee-based, they want more for less, all this kind of stuff is going on. So to continue to raise that score, I find I'm incredibly proud of it. But one of the questions that we asked, because they ask all the questions they want to ask the clients, and we can ask 3 questions. One of them was, do you value the new content and the new social media? And it was overwhelming that they did. So that's our experience. I'm not saying we got it right first in. I'm not saying it's right even today. We're still learning. We're still pushing hard to say, we don't have enough video yet, but we're getting there. The audience, as I say, it's just an amplifier. All social media does is take a discussion you may be having in your office, or with one single client, and you can broadcast it out to lots of people. Because if that client is worried about will they have enough money in retirement, so are the rest of your clients. So tell them the solution. You don't have to give the client name away, confidentiality and all that. But talk to them about solutions. And I think today's financial planner or investment advisor, it's no longer about product. It's about conversation. It's about the solution. It's not about product. In the UK, I don't know about here, but in the UK, virtually everything is priced the same now. One fund is virtually the same price as the next fund, the next fund is the next one. One pension plan is virtually the same price as the next pension plan is the next pension plan. When I started in this game 25 years ago, it was all about the product. The Aegon product was better than the legal and general product, which was better than the standard life product. It's all been commoditized. So now it's about, in my view, it's about conversation. And that's what social media is fantastic at. And what social big clue, I guess. So how do you grow your followers online? We think it's about personality. We've invested quite a bit of time into building an online personality. This is one of our brochures. This is just, it's the most basic building block of what we do as a wealth manager. It's about life assurance, protecting your family, transferring the risk from the individual over to an insurer. And we've tried to be humorous. I don't know if it works, but we've tried to be humorous and engaging and eye-catching with our brochure, because we can put that picture up on social media and it stands out on a Twitter stream. People are just drawn to it. And all of our brochures have some more successful than others, but I think this one got great feedback from clients. They really like it, or clients with children. The thing about social media, it is social, so don't just not engage with people. Don't just sit there sending out lots and lots of tweets or Facebook posts or whatever it is you do if you want to go that way, or on LinkedIn. Engage with people. If you see something you're interested in, talk to the person that issued it. It's amazing. We've just taken on a strategic partner of our firm, a lady called Jenny Creaser in the UK. She's one of the UK's top pension lawyers. Whenever the Treasury or the government in the UK wants to talk pensions, they wheel her in to talk to her. And I engaged with her through social media. And 4 or 5 weeks ago, she spoke at one of my breakfasts for accountants and solicitors, because we've now become friends. She's passing me business, I'm passing her business. And that all happened through social media. I've never met her before. So it's a way of connecting with people. So, respond to people. A question I often get asked, and say, I don't know the answer, I'm not an expert, but a question I always get asked is, what if someone's nasty to you? I think troll, what if someone's really bad to you? I've not had that experience yet. I just haven't. Where I do get the occasional bad comment is because I do quite a lot of press and media. And some of the consumer press websites will ask you a question. And the only bad one I really ever got was, I was asked, I think 10 of us were asked one tip for a private investor. So I said the power of compound interest. Start early, start often, keep going. And the minute it went up, I had this self-investing, and there's a rump of people in the UK, for whatever reason, don't trust financial advisors, don't trust banks, have not had good service in the past, never liked us, think we're expensive. And within minutes of my thing going up, what could be more easy than compound interest? Even Albert Einstein said it was one of the greatest forces in the universe. I got about 20 people going, call yourself a wealth manager, is this all you know, that you charge 100 basis points for this? But you're never going to get round those people, because they have an agenda. They are just the people that, if you said it's going to be 100 days of sunshine, they'd complain there was no rain. And in the UK that's an important thing. We love 100 days of sunshine. So you just can't avoid those guys. Just don't worry about them. I actually responded, and I think it's important to respond, and just say, we'll all got an opinion. This was something I was asked to comment on. I stand by what I said. Good luck with your investment, and just defuse it. And actually, the only time I ever had it was that time, and I didn't get any comeback from it. Just be polite, just be honest, and just keep going. I think there's far more benefit to social media than the downside. The thing about social media, I'll warn you now, is when you get into it, it can become a bit all-consuming. Constantly looking at your Twitter feed, you're constantly looking at LinkedIn, you're seeing if anyone's talked to you on Facebook, but give it to someone in the office to do. And then go to lunch. Repurpose. This is a word I've learned since I've been doing marketing. Repurpose. All that is recycling stuff you've already got. If you look in your office, you will see client reports, you will see brochures, you will see investment bulletins, anything like that. Take bits from it and put it out on social media, because the client wants to see it. The client doesn't see everything you see. So, Last week and the week before, markets were taking a bit of a kicking. Clients getting a bit nervous. Just sent something out saying we kind of expected this. Earnings numbers weren't great in Europe. The bank stress test didn't go very well. But hey, where else are you going to put your money? Interest rates are still on the floor. You're still going to invest to it, and that all comes through your office. Your clients don't see it. Just put bits out. Just reassure them. And we find since we've been doing this, we get less of the worrying phone calls. We still have the same 4 clients that ring every time the market goes down even 10 points. But it's just the same 4. But the rest of them, because we're talking to them on social media, they tend not to bother. They're not worried, I shouldn't be worried, So I get frustrated when I come to these things as a delegate, because people tell me all this kind of stuff, and they never tell me how to go and do it, or which the tooling that I can use to deliver it. So I thought what I'd do is I'd show you some stuff. For video, there's lots of it. Does anyone know what the biggest web internet search engine is? Google, yeah. Second? YouTube, yeah. Everyone forgets it's also a search engine. So if you're putting up posts on, bear in mind very few people are. In the States they're way ahead on this because they invented most of this stuff. Or actually they took it and then reinvented it. But what's that Japanese? But the Americans. The Americans are way ahead on it. But in the UK, lots of people still aren't doing it. So it's currently a greenfield site. So if you march out there and claim your space as a spokesperson for insurances, pensions, investments, whatever, and just have your own YouTube channel, you'll get picked up. One of the big benefits I've also found from using social media is journalists are on there all the time. I think any journalist, but financial journalists have a really difficult job. They've got to take the same basic things every week and repurpose them. They've got to find a new story, they've got to find a new angle, they've got to find a new way to tell the same thing. And it's incredibly difficult. So if you're out there talking in a slightly different voice, or talking about it in a slightly different way, journalists will approach you. I promise you need to be ready for that, because they do. They're always trawling, looking for new spokespeople. I don't know what it's like in the press over here. In the UK, for about 10 years, there was 3 spokespeople. One from Hargreaves Lansdown, which some of you know, big platform in the UK, and a couple of others. It was the same 3 people, week after week after week. When you speak to journalists, who else was doing it? Now there's lots of us doing it, and I think we get a much better output in our press, financial press, because of that. Podcasting, that's a couple of. I think we're going to be using Buzzsprout. I think it cost me $20 a month or something. They will then submit through to iTunes for us and all that kind of stuff. They're an international firm. On our website, all of our brochures can be found on our website, but they're not PDFs. They're those things that you click on the corner of the page turns, and they're much more engaging. And finally, I forgot the stats for this morning. Last week, we had 75 views of our online brochures. We only have 600 clients. So they're not clients of the team. Some, I guess, will be other financial firms seeing what we're doing, because I have a bit of a profile, but lots of them are people looking around for advice. And I'll come to how successful we've been in a moment. Online publications, we use Uberflip, but there are lots of others out there. If you just Google Flipbooks, you'll find lots of them, but I've listed some there. A thing I really love, and it's free, Scottish, is an iPad publisher called Flipboard. Some of you may have it already on your iPads, but what Flipboard allows you to do is to build your own online magazine. You can drop your own content in there from Twitter feeds, from Facebook. The other thing you can do is you can find other interesting articles that are also on the web and drop in there. So on my Flipboard, I have Telegraph Finance, I have Money Mail, I have Investors Chronicle, I have the Financial Times. And if I see an article, it's called curating. If I see an article that I think, God, my clients would love to know this, I just pull it into my channel. And you don't have to worry about copyright, because if they're on Flipboard, they've agreed that their content can be pulled through to other people's magazines. So everyone gets credit for their own articles, and it's a great way. We find we started last year. We're already through 600 readers. It's going up about 10 a week, but we're a small firm. But it's been great feedback from clients. They say, we'd just love to see her. And if you're out and about at conferences and photos are taken, or you're picking up an award, it's a great way just to drop photos in. You don't have to say, here we are winning an award, just take the photo if the clients get it. Anytime that we're in the press, we put it in, and it's all free. It's a really, really interesting whole Flipboard. You get it in the App Store, and we're finding that's really gathering momentum now. Tools, so you're doing all this work, how do you know it's working? Well, there are lots of tools, free, helps. Google Alerts is a great thing, you probably all know this, but you can put a phrase or as many phrases as you want into Google Alerts, and Google will tell you when it spots it. So my company is called Investment Forum, we've got about 600 clients, we look after about £170 million. We're based in London, so we can kind of post Investment Forum, or any awards we're chasing, all that kind of stuff we can put in. Any of the individuals who are giving advice that are quoted in the press, we can put all those into Google Alerts. And Google tells us if they've been in the press or it's been on the internet. And that way we don't miss stuff that we might have talked to journalists just off the cuff and it turns up later. Hootsuite is just one of these, I think you pay a few dollars a month for it. But what you can do is you can set up all your, because you've got all these things going on, Twitter and Facebook and whatever, you can set all those up within Hootsuite. And you can watch what's happening, and it tells you if someone's talking about you or your brand, because you want to know that, because they might be asking you a question and you've missed it. You know, this thing about Twitter is it's like a timeline, a stream. Well, they say a tweet lasts about 8 minutes because it goes so far down the line that you've missed it. And if you didn't happen to be looking there and then, you've missed it. So things like this actually spot it. And what you would hate is somebody saying something not very nice about you, you didn't respond, or you didn't at least know about it, so you could counter it. And if someone's saying something good about you, you want to know that too, because you want to go and tell your team and motivate your team and say, listen, we've just had a client who walked out and tweeted. And the story about that is, well, we were quite fresh on Twitter. We do 2 types of breakfast. One is for clients, and one is for accountants and solicitors. And this was a client breakfast. And there are about 25 of our clients there, and we take a private dining room in a nice restaurant, and we get a good speaker in. And we had a chap in the UK who some of you may know called Justin Urquhart Stewart, and Justin does quite a bit on TV, so he was talking away, and I saw clients taking pictures of him. And I thought, that's because it's Justin off the TV, they're taking a picture as a memento. When I got outside, these clients had all been tweeting what a great breakfast they were having at an Investment Forum breakfast. Justin Urquhart Stewart was talking. That's just free publicity. It's fantastic. Well, I'm getting a little wrap-up signal. Measure. This I quite like. This is how I see all social media. It's just a megaphone. And I just chose 3. I wrote an article for Mindful Money, which brought us in 4 new clients. And Mindful Money, of course, broadcast it for us because I've written it for them. This is one of the top pension commentators in the UK. Henry Tapper calls himself the pension clown. I still don't know why. He tweeted one of my blog posts, and we picked up 3 new clients from that. And this is just me showing off because this is the chief executive of the Indian Institute of Financial Planning. And he just liked something I said and retweeted it. Well, even in India, I'm famous now. I'm not, but you know. Tell your clients who you are. This goes into all of our client reports so that clients can see and they can know and they can understand that we are on social media. It forms a discussion point, and at that point we get their social media, where they are, what their name on Twitter is or LinkedIn or whatever it is. So how are we doing? To wrap up, we've got over 600 followers on our Flipboard, which is the one I like most. We're getting a growing following on Twitter, LinkedIn and Google. LinkedIn particularly is proving good for us at making connections with those that we want to have as strategic partners, solicitors, accountants, tax advisors, trust advisors. Everything else is going well, but what, as the owner of my business, what excited me most was that last year up until now, and our business year starts on the 1st of September, so 13 months ago, we generated over £30 million of new asset investment inquiries. Well, we only have 170 today. So you can see, and it took us 14 years to get there. If I can make this work, and these inquiries keep coming, and I tell you they're coming quicker and faster and larger than they ever did before, not just through our social media, but a lot in part to our social media, I'm going to be a very happy boy. And last year we were running at 200% of the year before in terms of new assets. So That's, as I say, I'm no expert, I'm a wealth manager by trade. I came to social media almost because I was dragged there by Abby Tanner, but for us it's really working. Going back to what I said right at the beginning, if you're not talking to your clients, who is? You can talk to your clients every day, your telephone bills will be enormous. You've also got clients who may not be at the moment optimum clients because they have maybe less assets than you would ideally like. It's becoming expensive to service them. They don't want to write the big checks the way the regulator wants things done now. Keep talking to them. Just keep talking to them. And I promise you will get more and more. Thank you for your time.